Call this meeting to order. Tonight, we're going to be led in the pledge by Mr. Gary Eakes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Eakes. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight to work session, and I trust everybody's taking time to read over their agendas, consent agenda and everything. So does anybody have any questions before I turn it over to Mr. Odom? All right, Mr. Odom.
I guess the approval of consent agenda, the one thing that's somewhat different in there is the rejection of a bid on the walking tracks. I probably picked up that because of the cost. That one. Anything else in there that kind of caught your attention in those? So we're ready to go to 9? Yeah, is that where we are?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number 9, Whitworth Buchanan Middle School multipurpose baseball and softball building and field lighting. Ms. Avie Seymour, principal of Whitworth Buchanan Middle School, has requested permission to construct a 35 by 80 foot pre-engineered metal building for a baseball and softball multipurpose training room. The building will be heated and cooled and will house 2 batting cages, a pitching cage, restrooms, and locker rooms. Most of the labor and materials will be furnished through Metal Building Outlet Corporation, Jacobs Construction, Smyrna Ready Mix, and Fair Brothers Construction. Money fundraised by the teams will complete the funding with no cost to Rutherford County School Board. The building will be located between the baseball field, left field line, the parking lot. The school will be responsible for all pertinent permits and fees. Also, Ms. Seymour has requested permission to install lights on Whitworth Buchanan Middle School baseball field. The lighting will be donated and installed by Middle Tennessee Electric, with remaining funds to come from the baseball account. Middle Tennessee Electric will require a permit and meet all requirements of the city of Murfreesboro. So the motion is to approve construction of 35 feet by 80 foot pre-engineered metal building at Whitworth Buchanan Middle School in the proximity of the playing fields for use by the baseball and softball teams. The building will be constructed through donations and fundraisers at no cost to the Rutherford County School Board. Since the building will be shared equally by the softball and baseball team, there's no gender equity issues. The school will be responsible for all pertinent permits and fees. Also, this motion is to approve installation of lighting at the baseball field at no cost to the school board. For gender equity purposes, lighting of the softball field will be pursued at the first opportunity.
Any questions? Comments? All right. Number 10.
Number 10, a couple items here. 1A is a Square for credit card payments. Eagleville School has requested permission to pilot the use of Square credit card devices so that credit cards can be used for payments to athletic events. These are the small Square credit card readers that can be attached to an iPhone. Our auditors have approved this pilot. The charge for the service is 2.75% of each transaction. This 2.75% transaction cost will be recorded as expense on the school's books. Recommend approval. Motion to approve Eagleville School's pilot use of Square credit card devices so that credit cards can be used for payments to athletic events. We'll try to find out a little bit more. I mean, this is, you see it advertised, it's on, now they're selling them everywhere, but I know Mr. Hodge did receive one email, somebody questioning security and that sort of thing. So we'll do a little bit more pursuing and see if we can find out additional information before Thursday or whatever. But I'm in a different world now, in the credit card world. It's sure different than it used to be.
Just going to verify that there's no repercussions on us if there is a security breach or something.
And I think that's what we got to have our Jeff and some of them to look at and to see where we stand on some of that to deal with. I know the county is doing it, which is the second motion here. The county is already doing it for some other things, but this is a little bit different than we have on the B part of this proposal. So
I think all the board members got the same email I got. from a gentleman out here in the community, I guess, and evidently he knows something in regards to this type stuff, so he was raising some issues on it, so that's why it came back. So, if Mr. Odom would check into it.
It seems to be a pretty prevalent
Yeah,
use. I know at races and sporting events where they're selling products, they tend to use those a lot. So they are in use quite a bit.
I guess the question that Mr. Young asked, that's what if y'all for Jeff to look at that, is to see, is there some agreements we need to have prior to starting this? I don't know, with Eagleville or whom. I don't know how to treat that necessarily from the legal aspect. That's my question.
All right, B.
B is point and pay online credit card payments for online classes. The county trustee, Mr. Ted Beatty, has offered to set up a point and pay link for online credit card payments for online classes. Several Rutherford County offices already use this software. The fee is charged to the credit card user 2.5% with a minimum charge of $2. The software is similar to MealPay, which was used for online meal payments. The online class cost is $125 per half credit. Courses are paid by the half credit, so a full credit course is $250. A point and pay link would be added to the Board of Education's website, and funds are deposited directly into a Board of Education web account. Recommend approval. Motion to approve point and pay for online credit card payments for Board of Education online classes. And I believe the county uses this now for your tags and that sort of thing. So, I mean, that is out there with a little bit of experience from this angle.
Any comments? C.
C is request additional staff move to $35 per month phone reimbursement. Mr. Odom is requesting that Tim Tackett, our athletic director, and Lynn Prater, our purchasing agent, be added to the list of those who are eligible to receive a $35 per month reimbursement towards the cost of their personal cell phones for work purposes. Both Mr. Tackett's and Ms. Prater's positions require they be out in the schools on a regular basis. Recommend approval. Motion to approve adding our athletic director and our purchasing agent to the list of those who are eligible to receive a $35 per month reimbursement towards the cost of their personal cell phones for work purposes. Ms. Pater is out especially quite a bit when we're doing buildings, additions, that sort of thing on site with vendors and things dealing with that. So it does run our personal cell phone up if she's not unlimited some for that. So
Any questions? D.
D is a new position, School Nutrition Technology Supervisor position. Staff is asking to combine 2 vacant central office school nutrition positions in order to fund this School Nutrition Technology Supervisor position. Federal changes in the school nutrition program require that we maintain more detailed information on the food served as its dietary content in our inventories. This position is currently responsible for development, execution, and monitoring of software systems for the school nutrition program. Development will include menus, recipes, bids, and procurement for all products meeting the Healthy, Hungry, Free Kids Act, HHFKA, of 2010. The position will be responsible for both back of the house and front of the house software. Duties will include data input from individual inventory items, descriptions and pricing analysis of reports dealing with revenues, inventory and financial progress, and training and support for school nutrition team located in the school level. All information must be compiled and researched for areas of improvement. Recommend approval. Motion to approve combining 2 vacant central office school nutrition positions to fund a school nutrition technology supervisor position in order to meet the requirements for the Healthy, Hungry, Free Kids Act. We're having to contract for this position now with some of the requirements. And if you'd like Mr. Sandy to kind of tell you what we're doing, I think you'll see why we're saying we may be better off to try to do some in-house to pull this off with the 46 schools. Do y'all want him to kind of talk about that? Do you mind coming up and speaking to that a little bit, Jill, what we're having to do? not everybody can do this. The requirements, to meet the Fed's requirements and all is part of the problem.
We have been trying to move toward this direction slowly, and we really haven't had a staff member who had both the technological know-it and the school nutrition knowledge needed to pull the two together. But some of the requirements under this under the last act, they're really pushing us toward computerized inventories and really using those inventory, looking for waste, other issues, minimizing our food cost, and also the healthy aspect of what we serve. And we're having to have our menus down to how much sodium is in an item, all sorts of things like that. And we need someone with both sets of skills. And as Mr. Odom mentioned, we have 2 vacancies. We are currently paying a contract person to do this considerably more at an annualized rate, and we're paying travel and lodging when we have this person here. And it is an ongoing, it isn't a get it in place once and we're finished. It's ongoing because of the menu and recipe changes that just come about in the course of the year. And
all of our registers at school are now
Right.
online and tracking that way, so it's,
yeah,
it's gone to the technology piece
Yeah.
for the 46 schools, but
that
the contract price is several $100s a
Yes.
day when you have to
Yeah.
contract outside for somebody to do this, so, I mean,
Basically, these 2 positions you've got here that are vacant now, you don't need them.
tell them the two.
one of them is one of our field manager positions, and we see this position covering aspects of that. But we also saw our we were hoping one of our field managers would be able to get into some aspects of this position, more the inventory side, and that has not materialized the way we had hoped it would. And then as this has been coming about, the requirements of what we have to do have gotten more complex. And then we had an employee who primarily worked with school, other items, but the main thrust of her job was our free reduced. We see we have been handling that in her absence, but that again interconnects with our software here, and that's where we think the technical expertise that we're looking for in this position would help with. We'll be importing information from our student management system as we currently do now with STARS. We'll have to set up with a new student management system, STI, and that all of that now flows together, free, reduced.
And this person resigned that was out. She left and maternity and all, but she has resigned, so.
Yeah,
I mean, there is no one in the position, or waiting for the position.
yeah. But
Would
we
this
were
be a
able
registered dietitian along with,
not a registered dietitian. No, that would that skill set along with the technology and everything would probably push the price up considerably higher.
nutritionally, how would this person be trained? I mean, are they just keeping the log that
Well,
the software supports, or?
one of the people we have worked with basically has kind of learned that side of the nutrition through work, without being a registered dietitian, but does have the expertise we need to get the information and maintain the information that we need in the future. So,
Mr. Blair will also be here Thursday night. He is your spotlight on education, which I
Right.
think you're going to be pleased with. That's about over our nutrition. How many $1 million a year go through our food, sir? I put you on the spot. I didn't tell you this.
but I could be totally wrong on that. I don't have my PC, so I can't look it up, but it's more than 8.
I mean, it's such a big business now.
It is, oh yeah.
I mean, we'll serve more meals
Yes.
today than anybody in Rutherford County, pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, you take,
And it's probably more 12 to 15 million a year.
it's just really big business now.
Yeah, It is. Well, and again, with 41,000 students,
I know.
when you just put it all together in all those operations, it is a big business. So,
I guess the question I got, Jeff, would be going from 2 positions down to 1, is that gonna cut them short?
we don't think so. Fred and I did discuss that. We made it without that free reduced position this fall. We had a couple of people who had to work some overtime and all, but we made that just fine.
Sorry.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Sandvig. Number 11, Mr.
Number 11, I'm going to ask, Paula, let's do this tonight, if you don't mind. And her and Jeff have been involved with some insurance, and this is kind of a follow-up on what you said earlier, because it's tied to that extra $30 or so per month if the blood tests were not performed. So through some meetings
Right.
with insurance, there's a process in place now, and you need to know about that because it affects a number of our employees.
Okay. If you recall, this fall, the Risk Management Department kicked off the Know Your Numbers campaign. It came out in an email to all employees, then it also was part of the open enrollment packet that was received by all employees in our system in Rutherford County. And that is requesting the primary policy holder, if you're enrolled in health insurance, to have a wellness update, to have a blood draw that tells cholesterol and those numbers associated with the code that they were requesting. So we have been sending out reminders to our employees periodically, and you probably get those because I send them to all RCS, urging them to get that done, because if you fail to do it, you're going to face a charge of $31.50 per month starting around March, correct, Jeff? March, April. And it's going to carry on for a year until the next year begins. And we don't have details on the process for the following year, but we'll then start that process again, and then they'll have a chance to have that done if they didn't previously. But every year you'll have to have that wellness check. So we met with Mayor Burgess and representatives of the insurance department, Mr. Sandvig and I, last week to express concerns that employees had shared with us, primarily about having their blood draws with their primary physicians and not knowing for sure that those results had been transferred over to Cigna, and were they going to not face the charge had it been received. So we had lots of questions. So what the insurance department has opted to do is they've written a letter and they have mailed it to the 750 Rutherford County Board of Ed employees that are not in compliance at this time. There were about 1,200 employees altogether in Rutherford County. There were 750 were ours. So that letter was mailed on Friday, and I have talked to a few people who did receive the letter in the mail. We are also in the process of sending an email to as many of those 750 that have a Rutherford County email account to say, the letter's coming in the mail, make sure you open it, it's very important. You need to save yourself this upcharge if you're willing to go get the blood work done. So we're trying to follow up with everybody. If they don't have an email address, I'll contact the supervisors. And Jeff and I spoke with Ms. Marshall, who's helping us do that mail merge, and we think there are only about 100 employees who are on the list that don't have email accounts. So that's pretty manageable for us. And we'll contact the supervisors of that person and ask them to pass on that email to those people so they'll know to look for the piece of mail that came in the postal mail to them. So we're making every effort we can to alert people to be sure and take care of this. They have until February 17th, that is the deadline. And then Risk Management and Cigna will do whatever it is they do on their end to follow through with all the results. And once they feel that everything is confirmed, then they'll determine who has not met the compliance request and begin the deductions from that point. So if there are any questions or anything I can answer about that. Okay.
750 employees on our side,
Yes, sir, on our side, about 750.
so we're looking close to 20% that didn't comply.
I think.
Of our 4,600 or so, a number are part-time, so may not.
And again,
Be
these are
eligible,
just
so
people
I-
that are enrolled in our healthcare plan too. So we have to take the percentage of that number.
Do we know what the problem is? They just not.
Well, I hear various reasons from different people. Some people just don't want to do it. That they said, I'll just pay the money. I'm happy to do that. I just don't want to report in that way. I'm afraid some people are not getting the message because they may not read the mail that comes to them, or they may not read all of the details in the emails that come to them. And I know during open enrollment, when we receive the packet in the mail, it's a big book and there's a lot of information in there. And that's why we've tried to be consistent with sending things out via email. And we always ask principals to please share the information with those people in their buildings who may not have Rutherford County email accounts. Print it off, post it in different places. So we try to use every mechanism we have. But it's really hard to say why they don't. I think that one thing I do want to point out, in the letter, it said that the cutoff date they used for that list was December 31st. So we feel like the number is going to be a little bit lower at this point because some people I know personally have gone in the first 2 weeks in January. So I think we're going to see a decrease.
Why don't we make a copy of that letter that's generic and slip it into board's folders maybe for Thursday
Sure.
night? And then if one of your constituents or someone asks, you'll know what the letter said. That would probably help.
That's fine.
We
The
can
other
do
piece of
that.
this, we did discuss in the meeting that if any of the mail came back to the insurance office, to please forward it directly to me, and I would look up the school where that person was employed and make sure it was sent via our courier to them. Because right now, we're on a pretty short timeline. But I'll put that letter in your mail for Thursday night. Thank you.
Thank you. She needs to go over this.
What's that? Is it, have you already given it to him? What is that? That means this is Jeff Sandvig might want to do this. What Mr. Hodges is looking at is the letter that was received from dated January 7, 2014 for the retirement system from David Lillard. Do y'all want him to discuss that? Do y'all you want to talk about that in just a minute? Do you have a copy with you? Or you want to, I know you've looked over it because we've discussed it some, but I'd rather you. It's that change mainly for new employees. Your issue is mainly your new employees, which is a state change in retirement.
Yes. And you know, we had this on a board work session, but did not present anything at the next board meeting. But yes, any new teacher hired after June 30th who is not already a member of Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. So if we hire someone from a neighboring system, that person is already a member of Tennessee Consolidated Retirement. But any new teachers, any out-of-state teachers will go into this new hybrid plan. Now, something that the county will be looking at is what they want to do with the other county employees, including our classified staff. And there is the same type hybrid plan, which is a combination of defined benefit, which is what we currently have for all of our employees. And that's where, based on salary and length of service, your pension is figured based on that. The hybrid reduces the amount of the pension that is defined benefit and adds a defined contribution piece to the mix. And the employees who wind up in that hybrid plan will have, I think it says on here, yes, 2% of payroll contributions. Right now they have 5% going into the defined benefit. That will stay the same, but they'll have 2% going into the defined contribution plan. And the contribution we as an employer make will be split between the two plans. In one of the examples the state has given, and it depends on the investment yields in your defined contribution part, they are showing it is possible for an employee to have a higher pension in this new hybrid plan. But it depends on the yields in the defined contribution piece. So the county commission may examine this. I think probably will examine this as part of the budget process. What do they want to do with other county employees? We have no choice for our teachers. That is happening.
The state has determined that.
The state has determined that. I have a meeting, and Ms. Barnes is going on February 3rd, another information session. The part I know least about is the defined contribution piece, more what the options will be. And we will probably be coming back to y'all for that. We don't know what our best direction will be on that yet. I've heard conflicting versions from different people as to how the state is precisely handling that. I was told last week they're only going to have one provider who only has one person working for them. Well, that obviously won't work. If a contract is awarded to that provider, they will have to add more people, or it won't work at all.
Sorry.
I just glanced over it a little bit before the meeting started, so were you explaining that the yield is it based solely on?
The investment choices that employee makes.
Okay, so kind of like we do with our 401k, we actually go and put it in different, like an
Right.
international account or
Right.
growth income.
Yes.
So our employees will do the same thing.
Yes, they will.
So
I-
the yield is based literally on what the market brings, not.
And what the investment yield that they choose.
But is there a guaranteed?
I don't know that there's a guaranteed rate. And that's the piece I'm sure we will know more as this year's budget process folds out. One of the things that in our 403B request for proposal 5.5 years back, we also asked for a 457 plan as an option. There, a teacher or a classified person will be able to put up to $17,500 because it's voluntary. It's an opt-out for those folks. So up to $17,500 in a 403B plan. Right now, that is our valid plan. Well, as this comes about, that limit will apply to what they can put in the state plan. So what I have asked VALIC to prepare is a 457 plan is different. It is a separate deferral. So any of these new teachers, or if our classified staff winds up going to this hybrid plan, those new people would need to join the 457 plan because we don't have the wherewithal to monitor two contribution limits. Two funds that are going to the same contribution, hitting the same contribution limit.
What I would think this board would like to know is that in that letter, the projection was that the hybrid would yield better than could. But what is that based on? Is that based on a mix of different funds, or is that one particular fund?
And that's-
I think our employees, and I know this board would like to know where they came up with that projection.
Oh, I agree totally, Mr. Blair. And that's one of the things we should find out at this meeting on the 3rd. In November, I met with some of the state folks at our TASBO conference, which was here in Murfreesboro. And at that point, they had not finalized the selection of the 403B provider for the state.
And I don't disagree that it may yield better,
Yes.
with with the track record over the last 20 years, but,
Yeah.
you know, I really would, when they make that assertion
Yes,
or assumption, I would like for them to explain how they came about
yeah.
to that.
Yeah, well, and part of the reason why I think they're fairly confident in saying that, if you don't opt out, which these employees can opt out of, it's a voluntary contribution. If you don't opt out, you will be putting 7% of your pay in between the two plans rather than the 5% our teachers are currently putting in. So that's one of the reasons I think they're fairly confident saying it should outperform.
Thank you.
This, and I think I know the answer to this, but again, but for our classified employees, let's go back to that a minute. That decision will be made by the county commission?
By the
is that
county
correct?
commission. And I understand that we can, and I heard this after our previous discussion on it, that you as a board can make a choice, but basically the county commission has to approve it. So ultimately, it is the county commission's choice. If they do nothing, our classified staff will stay on the same plan. Our new classified staff will be on the same plan as our existing classified staff. But if they do something, in all probability, our new classified staff will wind up on that plan. Any other questions?
Ms. Michaels, if you'll make a note after they go February the 3rd, let's do a follow-up with them.
Okay.
At a board
Okay.
meeting, we'll do that. More answers, hopefully.
Everyone good with that? Number 12, we'll discuss that a little bit Thursday evening, if that's okay with everybody. And number 13, general discussion. Anybody have anything they want to bring forth? Just everything's running pretty smooth for everyone. You got anything, Mr. Oldham?
Tomorrow night, we have,
All right.
is what we got.
I'd like to remind everybody tomorrow night, meeting at 5:30. Special call meeting in regards to the zoning for Whitworth, Buchanan, and Oakland Middle. So I believe Mr. Alderman's staff will probably have some recommendations to look at, so we can move forward on this. Anything else? Nothing else, we're adjourned.